Israel. Learn English podcast with שפות-שלי, the world's best language school. Let's go.
ברוכים הבאים לפודקאסט של שפות-שלי, בית ספר לאנגלית ושפות נוספות. אני אריאל, I'm your host for today. אני אהיה כאן איתכם היום, שבוע טוב לכולם. מקווה שלכם שבוע טוב, פרודקטיבי, ככל שאפשר, עם המצב של ה-Iranians. ואני הבאתי לנו כאן אורח היום. You guys know him from previous episodes. The one and only Josh.
Thanks. It's nice to be here, Ariel. Thanks for saying my name correctly. I'm just kidding.
Welcome, man. Welcome. I mean, I think I remembered, like, to still say Josh.
Yeah.
Josh could be made gimel like Vav Shin, right? With the chubchik on the gimel. Some Israelis call you Gosh.
Gosh. When people hear George, I say, if anyone is ever like, oh, is your name George? I say, yeah. George is it.
יותר קל. Okay. אז אם אתם יוצא לכם, ג'וש הוא אחד מהמורים אצלנו כאן בשפות-שלי. He's an amazing guy.
Thank you.
He's done a lot of interesting projects also on the corporate side, עבדת גם עם כל מיני פרויקט שם בקוקה-קולה גם, which is exciting. Yeah, pretty good. So he is leading our pedagogy here. So it's good to have him on the show. Welcome.
Thank you.
don't לראות אותך, ג'וש, for much.
Good to see you too.
אוקיי, אז היום אנחנו נדבר על כל מיני נושא של קונספירציות שיכול להיות שהן אמיתיות, שיכולות שלא. We're not going to go Alex Jones.
Well, some interesting conspiracy theories.
Okay.
Some things that are just, sometimes when you hear an idea, you'll hear a little kid say something like, birds aren't real. Birds are robots, daddy. Abba. The law meeting, right? Let's just keep page because that. And you think, well, maybe he's just saying that, or maybe he really believes that. There are some conspiracy theories that sometimes we hear, and it's the equivalent. The שווה לכזה לשמוע משהו, מה זה מוזר, it's like so יוצא דופן, right? Like birds aren't real. That's a conspiracy theory, by the way.
קונספירציה בעברית. Yes, conspiracy theory.
Birds are not real. That's a real one.
Yeah.
And the Chinese, you guys can look this up. אפשר לחפש את זה בגוגל. But there are drones, רחפנים, that are actually designed to look like birds and flap. להזיז את הכנפיים. How do you say to flap your wings? לנפנף.
Flap.
They flap their wings, these little רחפנים that look like birds. They have feathers and everything, but it's literally a robot.
Okay, so what would be the purpose of this Chinese rachvan? Would be to be undetectable, right?
Yeah, but it's interesting because I was talking about this with a friend of mine who's understands military tactics, and he said it would be very easy because if it would only be good for surveillance or spying on people in a normal akhlusiya, in a normal city, because if you were to look at it in a war scenario, birds don't fly where the bombs are going. So if a bunch of explosions are going on, and you see a bird flying around,
it's a drone.
It's a drone.
That's a pretty nice.
It's more circumstantial.
אז אולי היום בצפון is actually no birds really.
Yeah, the birds are all Hezbollah drones.
All right. So, אני רוצה קצת, I like that preview, it's a nice opener. אוקיי, אני רוצה קצת להגיד לכם, אם זה פעם ראשונה שאתם מאזינים לנו לפודקאסט הזה, אנחנו שפות-שלי, אנחנו לומדים כאן 9 שפות, אנגלית, ספרדית, רוסית, ערבית, יוונית, צרפתית, איטלקית, ספרדית. Whole bunch of languages, Arabic as well. Josh happens to speak Arabic, right? You speak Arabic as part of your training and your education, which is amazing. Josh מדבר גם ערבית ברמה גבוהה. And I wanted to tell you guys that אם אתם מעוניינים לשפר את האנגלית שלכם, עשו איתנו קשר ב-053-550-1976. If you have questions לגבי אנגלית מדוברת, that is a specialty. Josh specializes as well in spoken English, but all types. Psychometry, you've done everything of TOEFL, IELTS.
My favorite thing is it's called relative linguistics. Some people call it psycholinguistics, but it's the
Psycholinguistics. Sounds like crazy.
Well, it is crazy. It's not actually psycholinguistics, but I describe it as such. But basically, לעזור את הדובר כדי שהוא יתחיל לחשוב באנגלית, כדי שהוא יבין את השפה כמו כזה דובר.
מדהים. Because the first phase basically, בן אדם בדרך כלל חושב מתרגם, he's translating. אתם חושבים בעברית, אתם מתרגמים את זה כדי להבין. So you're saying psycho, what do you call it?
It's called relative linguistics, but I don't like the name. Psycholinguistics.
I like psycholinguistics.
It sounds better, but it's not. It's a different concept. But basically, it's just to get you to start thinking in the language and understand how the native speakers thinks, right? How they actually think when they speak. An example of this quickly is like זמן עבר שלילי, right? You would say, אני לא בזמן עבר הולך. I didn't go. Because אי אפשר לבטא פועל באופן שלילי וגם עבר.
Okay.
זה לא קיים, right?
Nice.
As that's like a good example. Very, very.
I heard a nice tip from one of our teachers here. Okay. He told me this week something very interesting because he's learning a new language. He's native English and he's learning now to speak Spanish. Okay. So he said, listen, what I do when I'm at home, sometimes I'm cutting vegetables and I will say like, okay, this is a manzana, like an apple. This is that. This is that. He'll actually call out the vegetables and say the thing he's doing to himself to immerse himself in the language.
Yeah.
That's a nice tip also heard. Phenomenal tip. That helps a lot. All right. So, זה ככה הקדמה, Sarah. We don't want to get too deep into it. זה לא מטרה של הפרק שלנו. This one, conspiracies. This one is a fun one. אתם הגעתם לכאן, כי אתם רוצים לשמוע כמה דברים, ללמוד אנגלית, אבל also to listen to a couple of interesting conspiracies. So I saw one. I want to start with one. Let me get this up. One is about, you actually shared an interesting one before. You want to drop it? Drop it. I'll let you drop it.
That was with what happened a couple thousand miles away.
Yeah, in Iran.
All right, so this is interesting. I've seen it. A few people, even some of our enemies, people that don't like Israel that want us wiped off the map, think that Iran, they're also Tzionim. Iranim gam Tzionim, Veldim, they're also working with the Americans. And, listen to this, Hania was assassinated. Mother assassinated.
Killed. נרצח. חיסול, yeah.
Right? As he was assassinated.
חיסול, yeah, it's assassination.
So he was assassinated by the Iranians, not by us.
Okay.
Right.
By the Iranian, by the Islamic regime? Or by...
No, I like the Iranians working with Mossad, like the Mapechat, Mishma Mapecha, whatever, the Revolutionary Guard, they took him out. That's the conspiracy. That they did it.
Why? In order to?
I mean, some people think that Hania was more, I know it sounds crazy to hear, but compared to other leaders, like the guy that's hiding, right? Compared to him, Hania was considered more pragmatic, more politically, more a possibility for a political solution or mashu, like deals with the West, right? That's the joke, or that's not the joke, but the narrative. It's a little bit of a stretch.
I think it's a bit of a stretch,
yeah.
Even though Israel's not claiming it's more, but well,
but I always think it's funny when people when something's so humiliating, like having a political leader be assassinated in your country, to have your other political enemies take away all agency from Israel and just accuse you of it, right? Because for them, the idea that the Jews could have done it is so much more humiliating. They would rather believe that the Iranian Matzionim
did it, yeah.
Islamic Tzionit, right? That's what some of these Sunni groups, like Al Qaeda, I don't know if Al Qaeda specifically, but these like more like Daesh, Nikim, Gaza.
Okay, אז תראה, כולם מבולבלים באמת.
Yeah.
People are so confused גם. כי מצד אחד, you have like the Iranians right now giving out a message, like mixed messages. One day they want to fight, the next day they want peace, the next day they want to talk. Hezbollah's always got the same narrative. We're going to fight back, but they're not.
We're going to bomb Kiryat Shmona.
Yeah, we're going to bomb, right? And they're not bombing, and everyone's waiting for the reaction. They're not bombing big. I mean, they're not going big. So the question is that like it keeps changing daily. So there's a lot of conspiracies running around that as well.
Yeah.
One conspiracy is that no one is actually the chance of having peace and coming to an agreement is zero.
Mm-hmm.
And actually the event is actually long boiling it down because, and Konim's mind, buying time, because they want to have the nuke ready.
That doesn't sound like, it sounds like a very, very logical plan. That doesn't sound like a conspiracy.
It doesn't, I mean, it could be a conspiracy because the West, Allah was telling you, we won't let them have a nuke, right?
That would be a conspiracy then.
I mean, Israel is telling you like, okay, אנחנו לא נמנע מהם להגיע, המטרה שלנו, למנוע מהם להגיע, stop the nuke, right? להפסיק את הצלחתו. So now the question is, on everyone's minds is, that would it really help? Okay, I'm going to ask you this. Let's hear your opinion. Okay, someone who likes to analyze geopolitics.
Yeah.
Even if there's a war, a full-scale war, let's say the Iranians lose. Okay, but they have the knowledge and they have the tools. And the next time they'll just develop the nuclear facility deep underground. You understand? You can't stop a nation.
if we attack them, for the listeners, if we im takafnu otam be'itzna benitzatnu,
Yeah.
so right, you're saying is they would just come back with
They'll just regroup, right? And take them 5-10 years, whatever it is. Or maybe they would take the nukes facility and they would make another one deep underground. Okay, and they still have the knowledge, right? So like I'm telling you, for example, I want to stop you creating what do you create? I want to stop you playing the guitar. So come to your house and trash all your guitars. Okay. Now, obviously you have the knowledge how to play guitar, right? So I can control it. So now you can just say, okay, I'm going underground. I'm going to Subway. I'm going to get myself a guitar. I'm going to play my guitar. I'm going to play my guitar, right? I'm not going to get Aryeh on my guitars.
Yeah.
So what I'm asking you is, the conspiracy theory is like, is the war, I mean, Israel has delayed it so much. They're basically a nuclear state now already.
Who, Iran?
Iran, I would say they're basically a nuclear, because they have the knowledge, are so close to it. They're there. And even if we stop them now, you can't stop them.
I promised you before we recorded this, that we weren't going to terrify our listeners, but since you're the one that brought it up, I suppose okay. I have to respond.
Yeah.
The only realistic solution then would be to make sure, I mean, if you really didn't want me to play guitars, get rid of the guitars, but you've got to get rid of me.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be the only solution. So, and that's not, I don't know if that's like fair enough for us to really discuss. Even.
I mean, when you're looking at the options available, I mean, the big conspiracy here is, I mean, so when you're telling to the public, that's the only option. I mean, you analyze it without being scary. I mean, that is the only option, is to basically put them away for life.
Well, you know what will be another, to add to the meta, to add to the levels of conspiracies, right? Listeners, those of you who are listening to this now, when this releases, come back to this podcast maybe in a week or two and see if there are any edits. Maybe there's something maybe this podcast will be changed. Maybe it'll be taken down.
Maybe it won't be relevant. Maybe the Iranians hack in and just wipe this podcast in, because we are revealing some information
that we know their plans.
Look, I'll tell you the honest truth. And no, we don't have anything to really decide. Things about one is normal, or Shikon is normal, and things are amazing. And you guys are here in English. Keep doing, because that's what we do. We come to work every day. We give it 150%. Even if the bad was to go down, we'll still keep on going, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
we can still teach on Zoom from Miklat.
We've actually got a backup planning. You know the backup plan? We've got a Sfot-Sheli nuclear bunker.
Really?
Right. It's based in. I don't want to give it exact. I don't want to give our listeners exact coordinates, but our students know it. Where it is, we give exact.
If you sign up for a course, you will get coordinates for our secret miklat.
For secret miklat, we have the internet connection via the Elon Musk.
Plenty of dictionaries, all languages.
By the time you're done, by the time you come on, you will know like 50 languages.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to share with you another conspiracy, עוד אחד מעניין וכיפי ומצחיקה, okay, is the one of Joe Biden coming back. He was like sick with COVID, okay, then in the meanwhile, during that time, they replaced him, okay, and the Kamala Harris started running and blah, blah, blah. And then, מה שקרה, that Joe קיבל COVID פתאום, okay, he ממש היה לו COVID during that time when they replaced him. והוא יצא אחרי זה, and images, they saw him walking near his wife and stuff.
Yeah, taller than her though?
He was taller than in other images. Like, it's pretty clear. I've seen it online. I mean, he just seems taller, right? It seems like it's not even him.
Maybe it's, maybe he's laying down he's able to finally like sleep for a long time now. Because when you're the president, you're always like being woken up doing stuff. He's finally able to sleep. And because he's able to sleep and lay down for so long, his back is being elongated. He's straightening muarach. It's straightening muarach.
But some of the images is about 5 centimeters taller than what he should be.
It's being analyzed. He's going on one of those things that you click in your feet and then it flips you upside down and you hang. He's been hanging.
Okay. As מה שאני רוצה לשאול אותך is that, do you not wake up and like, when you see the news, you see events, ואני חושב יום כולם באמת מחוברים, connected, מחוברים between the news, what's going on in life. Do you not feel that, okay, what is the truth? What am I being fed? What do I know? What is my government? What are they planning? You just feel that the public has never been so much in the dark. You understand? You're reading news. It's you waking up and you see, well, the USA have sent a nuclear sub to help protect you, right? So how do you feel now? So you continue with your day. You set a signs out well.
Well, so I mean, this is again, I don't know what type of the only immediate security to having nuclear subs, or as for that matter, the submarines that we have. This notion of being able to strike after is the deterrence, the hatra'a, right? If we don't have deterrence, then it's as good as just knowing, like, I don't know, like getting a sticker when you're a kid for doing getting a good grade. It's very trivial, because knowing that your country is going to strike back after you've gone through destruction is just what we call in English a consolation prize. What is a consolation prize?
זה כאילו פרס שליש, אתה מקבל על ההפסד, לעודד אותך.
Yeah, well, it's not even like have said. It's like total have said, but it's like maybe you're not even around. It's like it's the idea that when we see this with our enemies, actually, is when our enemies, when they lose their terrorists or fighters or whatever you want to call them, they have all of these slogans about martyrdom and all of those things, which we don't know what's happening after death, but we can say that in this reality, the celebrations and the forced smiles and the quotes in Arabic about enjoying death and all those things, that's what you call a cope, right? That's like a consolation prize. That's okay. You tell yourself to make yourself feel better because you don't have anything else outside of your words and maybe your belief.
The question and
a nuclear sub is physical, is the actual physical existence of that concept.
Okay, one of the main questions I think a lot of people worry about, think about, let's say, is that, or ask themselves, I definitely ask myself that a lot, that why do we not do a preemptive strike at the moment? I know, is it an American policy? What's the conspiracy behind that?
I can tell you that I think it has to do with, there's just, well, first of all, it's interesting because first of all of the large world leaders have kids that live in the West. So take a step back outside of Israel, right? Like, talk about like Putin or Zelensky or any of the Putin, all these people, the Abdul, the king in Jordan, probably some of the Hamas leaders as well, right? They all have nephews and cousins and family members that live in the West, that go to university and live and are living lives benefiting from maybe the empires and the things that they claim to hate so much. There's no realistic reason to have an end of the world scenario unless there is a guarantee that everything that you have in your legacy, as well as your offspring, are going to be challenged and erased, right? So clearly, to the people, in my opinion, that are controlled, that they don't see the preemptive strike is, that's like kind of doomsday. Well, to an extent, and that's also, there's this level of manifestation. We talk about it like it's doomsday. I mean, unless the planners have something else, and I mean, it's a very, very slippery slope once you start using weapons that have never been used before, no matter how small or like, insignificant and the actual use of it. It's more symbolic. I'm not going to even go deeper into that.
So you say that right now they're basically doing everything at all costs to avoid an escalation. A preemptive strike, would be seen as
Well, so the thing is this country politically needs not us, the average citizen, but from the geopolitical nature of this country as well as the neighborhood. Israel is the only country to really stand to gain from having a war happen right now. I know it sounds crazy to listeners because, we love our normal life, but the real discussion, and whether you like the leadership or not, the leadership who are trying to seem to be trying to make this war happen, understand that if we don't have this war now, in 5, 4, 3, or 10 years from now, we won't be in the same situation where we'll be able to have the level of deterrence that we do have. And even though we say that we don't have deterrence, the fact of the matter is it's been over like 12 days since we blew up a person in Lebanon and then Iran within the same 24 hours, which is really a way of saying, try me, right? So realistically, we want our enemies to try us. And the Iranians, going back to this conspiracy thing, they're smart for waiting. If I was the bad Iranians, I would wait, give it a year. Wait. Why do it now?
You got no reason.
And it's not like there's a democratic crowd in amongst the Iranians that's going to push them towards a war, right? It's not like they have to worry about internal strife. They can crush down on anyone. They don't have the same nuance, at least publicly, that we do, you know.
Of course. So then in terms of the smart, you're saying the smart approach would be should
Lekakot, yeah.
wait it out.
Just give it a year.
And even though they might sound extremely frustrating for listeners right now, that's one of the biggest conspiracies rolling. That these guys are, you know, there to actually play the long game.
That's what they are doing.
That's what they are doing. It's not even a conspiracy. The conspiracy might be actually come to fruition, come to truth. They're hell-bent on the destruction of the state, and therefore they're playing the long game. And the long game says status quo in the north and keep the situation up, you know, as it is with Iran. Just wait out for the big revenge. We don't know when it's going to come. It could hit you like a train from the blind side. Like October 7th. And that's what they're trying to play. So now the question is like this, and we're going to end on this note, okay? But what about the North? I mean, they can't have Israel can't let the status quo stay that way because people are not in their homes. Then you go back to the homes. I mean, you can control back over the North. The question is whether Israel will use this as a preempt to start rolling the ball, you know, get the ball rolling in the North. And then hopefully Iran will get involved and they'll have full right to start execute the plan of, you know.
So let me give my last thoughts on this.
All right, let's do this. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, we have lessons after this. We have to run very soon. But basically, I think the notion of going back to a normal life, with or without Hezbollah, is as in the form that they are there, is complete. It's
a fallacy.
It's a fallacy. It's not a conspiracy, but it's a fallacy.
Why?
The fact of the matter is this country has reached a new, in my opinion, we have like a new, you know, you have these new watershed moments, 1967, and then, you know, like that is a big example, right? The 7th of October was a big wake-up call, and I think part of the notion of like this, we have Hitnachalut in the West Bank, and then there's a political discussion on that, but I think realistically, the only way to have guaranteed physical security in the country is with these yeshuvim need to be turned into military bases, permanent, indefinitely. The people that live there need to be compensated.
You're saying the borders
need to be militarized
in the north as well.
The borders, all of our borders need to be. This is what the country.
But this is the plan. This is what they want to do.
This is what the country needs.
This is what they want to do.
We need at least 5 more brigades worth of soldiers in the army, and we need to militarize our borders. Those are the things that this country needs to do the most. And then the society as a whole needs to shift towards not more militarized society and more violent, but we need to have more of a less Western mindset when it comes to things like consumerism and like bidur, I think is a real issue because there's there's a generation of Faisalim and Roblox in this country. I understand that the war was something that kind of was a big wake-up call, but a lot of people are still, you know, staying all day in their air-conditioned homes and not doing much. This is more of a rant about the younger generation.
Alright, Josh, עכשיו זה מעניין, אבל זה לא באמת הקונספירציה כאן. The plan of the Israelis, I think, what they're looking to do in the north is not going to be able to push Hezbollah back beyond the Litani and all the plan, blah, blah. Then the facts are, what I heard, what I know, is that they actually want to set up a military buffer, like put the military in there, not put citizens first, like they had in the south. Actually put the military in front of the citizens and not the other way around. This will be a new change of plan. What you're saying is a definite plan. They understand that.
I hope so.
Yeah, they have to do that. I mean, they're bold, okay? תשים קודם כל צבא and then אזרחים. First put civilians. It's the citizens, the army and then the citizens. That's a must. I mean, you can't have your first border being, you know. Also here in Yudav Shomon, in the Sharon area, you know, you got Tulkarim, all that stuff. You got that wall, but you see guys jumping over the wall.
Yeah.
Like, you know, randomly.
Well, thank God Netanya is such a tough city.
Yeah, we feel safe. At least we have a sense of security. All right, and anyways, זה היה פרק קצת מעניין, שונה היום. Let's do this again, זה היה פרק כיף, טיפה שונה. אוקיי, הוא talked about קצת קונספירציות, חלקם אמיתיות, חלקם לא, חלקם בידור, חלקם לא משנה מה יקרה. We still strongly believe that
ביולוגיה, סיפורים.
אנחנו לא משנה מה יקרה, אנחנו נהיה כאן תמיד, לצמוח, לגדול, ללמד, keep inspiring. You're doing a great job, Josh. The students are showing growth steps and trying to improve their English, specifically even during hard times. One thing I can say about the country as a whole, on a positive side, they don't wait for what will be tomorrow. Okay, they live today and they invest in themselves today and they do what they want to do today. That is a good outlook in general, for life in general. אז אנחנו מאחלים לכם, אני מאחל לכם לפחות, תחיו היום, keep growing, fulfill your dreams, don't let anything stop you, not even the Iranians, because you know what the truth is? All our theories might be absolutely wrong, and next week we'll see a new curveball.
Except for the birds. Watch out for the birds.
The birds aren't real. That's only one thing. Real. If you want to take one thing from today's episode,
birds
are not real. So once we've covered that, there's a slang for what birds are. You guys can look that up. We'll do another episode about slang in general. Yeah. You have some very cool slang. I want to actually do another slang one with you. Slang בעברית, יש סלנג לג'וש רפטואר, ממש resume of סלנג אמריקאי שאני מבין אולי 10% ממנו בעצמי. That'll be fun to listen to. Well, I think we should do one on the most off-cuff.
Yeah.
Used ones though. Okay, don't come up with like very rare ones, but you like using.
But they're changing constantly.
They're changing.
Yeah.
I heard one just to end up quickly. 1 minute, last minute. No, the producers here are signaling us. They're going to get fired. But one quick question: you had the are you finding some of the TikTok slang like skibbity?
Yeah, it's called brain rot. I was teaching this to one of my students. Actually, we spoke about it. We weren't learning it like seriously, but yeah, there's a lot of thing.
I don't even know what
we got. So something that's interesting about these terms is you can actually use them interchangeably. So we'll leave it at this. The word riz is a word for like charisma, but also means like
a rizzing is approaching like approaching them.
Anyways,
that's
cool. The thing about brain rot is you can use any word for anything. So I think it's time for us to riz out of here.
All right. See you guys next week. אני שמחתי להיות כאן היום. Josh, thanks for coming on. אם אתם רוצים לשמוע עוד פרקים מעניינים מג'וש, please write us in. If you guys enjoyed this episode or you hated this episode or פשוט נבהלתם, you got a fear that you can't sleep anymore, please write us in. We'll be happy to hear your feedback. All hate mail goes to Josh, private email. Josh, we'll share it.
No.
We'll share it in the
Nope. All right. Thanks, guys.
We'll share it in the description. See you guys, and see you guys again next week. Thank you, and
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.